What's good, family? I think we're live now. Sorry about the delay. Technical difficulties. My apologies. I turned on my PC. What it is I prepared for the stream on my iPad, and then because the iPad doesn't allow Google Hangout, so I had to go to my laptop to stream live. And I noticed I had to perform some updates on my laptop. So yeah. Without much ado, I'm just gonna invite a few friends in here. Make sure we have some people in here before we proceed. But today's topic is about current affairs in Africa. The attempt coup d'etat in Ethiopia, which had failed. But sadly, we have lost a few people, and it is really sad that in 2019, okay, this is happening in Africa, throughout the world. There are people that are enemies of progress. Okay, we do not need them in our lives. Okay, we need to get rid of them. As African people, we are marching forward. Okay, we are moving forward, for promoting a better Africa, a better future for the next generation of Africans. And infighting is not the way we do things. Okay, I know the West has been pushing democracy in Africa, but in the West itself, democracy has failed. Okay, it's only a handful of rich people that control the affairs of the country. But in Africa, what we have is true unity and true humanity. Okay, family. Okay, how we relate to one another in Africa, in regards to family, how we love one another, you know, relating to family. Okay, this is how we organize ourselves in Africa, you know. And I always say, socialism is the way, for Africa, where everybody has a say, not just a select few of people that have a say in the affairs of Africa or the community, you know. So without much ado, I'm just going to share the stream. I do not have much time, so I'm going to share the stream with my friends and invite some few people here from the African YouTubers group, and then we shall discuss. Okay, we shall discuss this. All right. So also we have the Ghana and Cote d'Ivoire, stamping their feet, and taking a stance that the cocoa they wanted to dictate the price of the cocoa beans being sold to the international market. For a long time, the international market has always determined the costs at which these or they've always determined the prices at which they want to buy the cocoa beans from all Africa's natural resources from. But this is the time where Africa dictates to the world how much we want to sell our stuff for. We have the goods they needed. Okay, we need to, negotiate terms that will benefit us. So kudos to Ghana and Cote d'Ivoire for taking a stance for taking a stand in asking the international market to give them a favorable price, of the cocoa beans. So they've won their case, and the international markets have agreed to pay them a bit more. But I still have doubts. A ton of cocoa beans being sold for $2,600. I mean, that is really, really cheap. Okay, so it's about time Africans up their game, up the game and add value to their natural resources, which the world needs. Okay, the whole world can't deal without it. Ghana and Cote d'Ivoire together constitute about 60% of global cocoa demand. So, I mean, there you have it. So we are in control. We're in the driver's seat, and we need to, negotiate terms that benefit us. All right. So I am gonna share this stream and then invite guys to come in. So Chiefdryno is live. Please join me. All right. I have shared it, and also I'll be talking about the AFCON, okay, the African Cup of Nations. Yeah, in a minute. So, yep. So, okay, I have invited a few friends in here, so I'll be pleased to have them join us, and we shall discuss. So, without much ado, I am going to go straight to. First of all, let's have a look at the chat here. Let's see who's in here. I'm not too sure. I still have a few things to do, a few things to learn how to. Okay. Right. Let's see. All right, Naima back now. Thanks for joining the stream, family. Just seen this chaotic storm. Sadly, my fam talks about it. So much tribalism. Old regime doesn't like the majority Oromo race. Hated to see Abiy in presidency. Tigray elites only want themselves to rule, but we all rather see a united Africa or united Ethiopia and united Africa. Okay, so Abiy Ahmed is a champion for this, and he's done a great job. Okay, in uniting Africa, Ethiopia and the entire Horn of Africa and the eastern region of Africa. So there are going to be some pushbacks, but this one is a failed one. Okay, and we're moving forward in uniting Africa as a whole. So I've always praised Abiy Ahmed for what he does, and yeah, without much ado, I'm going to go into the article, and then we shall discuss it. Okay, we shall discuss it. Let's see. I'm going to share my screen now. All right. Screen sharing. Application window. All right. So okay. So news over the weekend. I think that was on Sunday. Okay, there was an attempted coup d'état in Ethiopia. Okay, I don't know. It was planned in different states of Ethiopia, but I don't know if it also involved Abiy Ahmed. But so far, the coup had been foiled, and the perpetrators have been brought to justice. Okay, some have been killed. Apparently, some have escaped. But the thing is, okay, when you catch an enemy, you do away with them because they will come back. They will come back and hurt you. Okay, but Abiy Ahmed's reform of bringing unity, forgiving a lot of political dissidents and and criminals in the past, political criminals in the past, forgiving them and giving them positional power. Okay, so Abiy Ahmed believes in forgiveness and reconciliation and moving forward. Is a way forward, in unity. But then there are some people who are so very bitter from the past and who always want to do harm and be detractors from the cause. So this is one example of doing good and then it turning back and biting you. So I am I'm not too stern, but I believe in doing away with opposition. Okay, I do have that military mindset that any opposition needs to be crushed. Okay, this is the reason why Africa is struggling to move forward, because there's so many old ideologies, okay, that have not been crushed. Okay, and they can always raise their ugly heads. So we need to crush all these oppositions. We need not to have sympathy for any of them. Crush them, okay, bury them, okay, and let us move forward and face a new dawn. Okay, and this is the only way forward. Okay, but if you're trying to go in the past and fix things that come from the past, okay, it's going to take you a longer time. Okay, there's always going to be detractors, okay, and it's going to make the it's achievable. It's achievable, but it's going to be very difficult. So, Abiy Ahmed would have learned from his mistakes now. Okay, forgiven all these political criminals, especially one uh, uh, Ethiopian general. I think his name was Asini or whatever. Okay, he staged a coup d'état last year, and he was pardoned by Abiy Ahmed's new government. Okay, and it's sadly, okay, this is the case. Sadly, he's raised his ugly head again and orchestrated another coup d'état and killed, a few prominent people. So without much ado, I'm going to go into the article. I do not have much time, so I'm going to race on here for a bit. Okay, so this article is from africannews.com. Ethiopia observes a day of national mourning after assassination of leader. Okay, so I mean, the headline is a bit, uh, misleading. It's not the leader, Abiy Ahmed, Prime Minister. When I read this, it just came to mind that Prime Minister Abiy Ahmed has been assassinated, but this wasn't the case. It was the leader of the that part of Ethiopia. Okay, the president of that part of Ethiopia. So I'm gonna read the article. Okay, so this is from Ethiopia. This was about 6 hours ago. Okay, it was a somber Monday for Ethiopia as the country held National Day of Mourning. Ethiopia was grieving the brutal death of the Chief of National Army Staff and regional leader, killed in what the authorities have described as an attempted coup d'etat against the government of the northwestern region. The office of Ethiopian Prime Minister Abiy Ahmed said that an orchestrated coup attempt occurred on Saturday night against the president of the Amhara regional government, one of Ethiopia's 9 autonomous regions, and the second most populous in the country. Okay, so Ethiopia observes a day of national mourning after assassination army. Yeah, so we stand in solidarity with Ethiopia. Okay. Amhara Regional's president Bachu Mekinen and one of his advisors were killed in an attack in Bahir Dar, the region's capital, in a separate attack, but which, according to the authorities, appears to be a coordinated. The chief of staff of Ethiopian Armed Forces General Siari Mekinen was killed by his bodyguard at his home in Addis Ababa. The Amharas are Ethiopia's second largest ethnic group after the Oromos. So Abiy Ahmed is from the Oromia, okay, the Oromo tribe or Oromo people who are quote unquote very, very, indigenous African looking. Both ethnic groups have been at the forefront of 2 years of demonstrations that have shaken the country. Abiy Ahmed of Oromo descent has worked to democratize the country, legalizing dissident groups. Okay, so this is the problem here: legalizing dissident groups and improving press freedom. Okay, I'm in favor of the press freedom, but this here is always gonna, in a country that's not stable, this is always going to lead to insurrection and a lot of unstable situations. Okay, but with the relaxed rule comes a liberal act of ethnic tension. Okay, so the rules have been relaxed in Ethiopia, and it comes with a lot of ethnic tensions, especially between like rivalry groups like the Chiefdryno, Oromo, and stuff like that. So, there you see the ethnic clashes and ethnic conflicts happening. All right, and it's all tribalism, right? Right. So with the relaxed rules comes a liberal act of ethnic tension, often involving land and resources that have led to violence in Ethiopia. Okay, so that's the end of that article. So it's a national day of mourning for Ethiopia. Okay, and Abiy Ahmed was in the press. Made a press appearance. There's been social media has been shut down. okay, in Ethiopia, and it's still shut down. I don't know if it's been reopened, but Abiy Ahmed appeared on national TV in his military gear, and gave address, to the Ethiopian people. Imagine living in a country that your president just shows up on TV and says that there's been a coup d'etat. Okay. Chaotic storm. We have older leaders who still cooning and promoting tribalism. Yeah, exactly. All right. They do not want to embrace the new. They do not want to move forward. They want to be stuck in the past. Okay, and that's not going to help us. So not until we do away with these old mentality. Okay, we're not going to go anywhere. And shutting down social media and stuff like that is not helpful, because social media is what's awakening the youth. Okay, which is the youth, which is about 70% of of Africa's population. Okay, in the next 2 decades, the youth are going to run Africa. So this is a time we need to educate ourselves. This is a time we need to really educate ourselves and come out of the darkness, right? So move on to the second article. Okay. Attorney General of Ethiopia's Amhara region has succumbed to injury sustained after an attack that led to the death of the region's president over the weekend. So Ethiopia failed coup, fit, death, national mourning, mastermind killed. Okay, so Migbara Kebede becomes the fifth casualty of the coup attempt in Bahir Dar, the regional capital. The BBC also reports that the mastermind of the attack, Asaminu Tige, had been shot dead by police on Monday. Okay, so the mastermind behind the coup d'etat has been killed, which is a great thing. Okay, you live by the sword, you die by the sword. Okay, I'm a big, I'm in big favor of that. Okay, all these idiots need to be gotten rid of. Okay, the detractors to the progress of the world. Okay, we want to move forward. We, especially the youth. Okay, we want to move forward. We've had enough of these old leaders with their old mentalities. We've had enough of them. Okay, we want to see a united Africa, and I'm still yet to see what the African Union says about this coup d'etat, but I haven't read anything about the African Union releasing a statement yet. So if I do, I'll definitely come back tomorrow and reiterate, right? So this is the as Minu Tige had been shot dead by police. But police, I mean, why is it the police? Why isn't the military involved in taking him out, not the police? But this is another topic. Okay, is the police being heavily armed to the point where they can act as the military, or they met the military police? So, which I'm not very clear on that, but yeah. So the death of Abachu Mekanen and Azez Wasi, the regional president, and his advisor, respectively, was confirmed by the government on Sunday. The situation in the Amhara region is currently under full control of federal government in collaboration with the regional government, which, in accordance with the constitution, is being led by the vice president. I'm tempted to say like here, but since it's African, I'll say Lucky. Okay, Lucky Ayaliu. A statement from Prime Minister's office said, over in the capital, Addis Ababa, Army Chiefs Siari Mekanen and another retired officer, Major General Gazai Abera, who were reportedly working to thwart the overthrow of Amhara regional government, were shot and killed by the Army Chief's bodyguard. So, day of national mourning. Flags are flying at half-mast across the country in honor of officers who were lost in the events of Saturday. Reports indicate that state broadcasters are running condolence messages, whilst religious leaders have continued to urge for calm. A national committee has been formed to organize military honors for General Siari Mekanen and retired Major General Gazai Abera. The committee would update and provide information as needed, Abiy's office said. It also said the Amhara region will deal with funeral preparations for the deceased officials. Regional and global reactions. The United Nations has called for restraint, even though the African Union AU based in Addis Ababa has yet to issue a statement. So this is what I was saying before on the development. Our regional neighbors have, however, reacted amongst others, Eritrea and Somalia in the Horn of Africa. Okay. Turkey and Qatar on Monday issued strongly worded condemnations. So this is obviously not the government. So if they, are they trying to reach the ordinary people? Okay, this wasn't done by the government of Ethiopia. It was done by a select group of army officials. All right. So I don't know how much that's going to take effect, but let's see. So Eritrea, Somalia, Turkey, Qatar reactions trail Ethiopia failed coup. So this was a Twitter thingy. Qatar condemned the criminal assassination of the chief of staff of Ethiopia and failed coup attempt in Amhara region. The foreign minister said that Qatar affirms. So I mean, it's autonomous, but they belong to Ethiopia as a kingdom because Ethiopia is a kingdom, right? But it's also a united country. So I don't know why this should be called assassination, though. I mean, it should be called a coup. It's an assassination, but not a coup, because if it's a coup, it's an attempt at the government, the entire government of Ethiopia. Right, so I really do not understand that aspect of it. But so Eritrea and Somalia reacted via tweets with the former sending condolences, while the latter added condemnation of the action and solidarity with the people of Ethiopia. The government of Eritrea has conveyed its message of condolence to the government and people of Ethiopia in the killing. In a failed coup attempt, the president Amhara regional government has advised the chief of staff, or his advisor chief of staff of Ethiopia's National Defense Forces and Major General gives the message from Asmara read. So the internet remains blocked. Internet rights group NetBlocks reported the service had been cut ostensibly, I can't pronounce this word, ostensibly in connection with the incident in Bahar Dar and Addis Ababa. Authorities have usually cut off the internet several times in the past for security reasons. The most recent 8-day cut was because of an annual national examination. That's so crazy, though. So they cut your internet because there's a national examination. Anyway, the government and telecom provider never confirmed if that was the real reason. Okay. So I read in another article, there's been a telecommunication, I think Germany's telecommunications in Germany. It's a telecommunication company, I think from Germany, was trying to, oversee the telecommunication job in Ethiopia. So we'll see how that goes. So the government and telecom provider never confirmed if that was the real reason. So I don't think the internet was shut down because of a national examination. I think it was because of they didn't want international news, or basically they didn't want the citizens to be in panic. Okay. Residents in Amhara's capital, Bahir Dar, said late on Saturday there was gunfire in some neighborhoods and some roads had been closed off. Early on Sunday, Brigadier General Tifera Mamo, the head of special forces in Amhara, told state television that most of the people who attempted the coup have been arrested, although there are a few still at large. So a few have run. I hope they catch them. The BBC reporter says at Monday morning, people in the capital, Addis Ababa, were going about their normal routine. Okay, so that was about why the internet was shut down. Okay, so people don't panic. So yeah, update internet users. Okay, I'll leave the article in the description box. I'll move on to the next article in a minute. So Asiminu Tsige, mastermind of the push. Okay, I think this is a Russian. It's more like a revolution thing. I can't pronounce the word, but yeah. The Prime Minister's office, in its statement, named one Brigadier General Asiminu Tsige as the mastermind of the alleged coup and deadly attacks. It is to be recalled that Brigadier General Asiminu Tsige was given amnesty and released from imprisonment last year. The statement of June 23rd read in part. Okay, so Abiy Ahmed was the one that released this guy from prison. So Asiminu, Abiy Ahmed, when he came into office, he pardoned a whole lot of political, prisoners, and one of them, this guy here, had turned around and caused havoc. So yeah, the shooting. So because Abiy Ahmed believed in reform, okay, he believed that pardoning him and giving him a job back in the military, the Ethiopian military would make him happy. But obviously, no, he has his own plans. Okay, he has his own plans, and these people have so much hate in their heart. Okay, yeah, it's not solely about power. It's just hate, really. At this point, it was just hate, and they just can't deal with the devils inside. The shooting occurred when federal officers were meeting the state president, an ally of Abiy, to discuss how to rein in the open recruitment of ethnic militias by Asiminu, one Addis Ababa-based official told Reuters. A week earlier, Asiminu had openly advised the Amhara people, one of Ethiopia's larger ethnic groups, to arm themselves in a video spread on Facebook and seen by Reuters reporter. Okay, so at this point, that was when they were meant to arrest him. At that point, that was when they were meant to arrest him, right? Why are you arming yourselves? Like, what are you trying to insinuate? So yeah, Prime Minister Abiy Ahmed's government faces growing pressure from regional strongmen, including in Amhara, a flashpoint in growing ethnic violence in Ethiopia. So these are some tweets here. Again, so you can go and check it out. After 9 years in prison, so this tweet was by Zacharias Zilalem. After 9 years in prison, where he was severely tortured to the point of losing sight in an eye, he was freed in February 2018 as part of an amnesty. When PM Abiy came to power, he restored his military credentials and granted him his military pension. Okay, so this is what Abiy Ahmed did, right? And then that gave him power. So I don't think it was for revenge. I think it was just his act of causing chaos. I mean, what he did is just indicative of his nature, that he would not rest until he had caused a change or caused chaos. Okay, but yeah, he paid with his life. So sadly, a few other people had to go with him. But yeah, let's have a look in the chat and see what's going on there. Okay, so stop presenting. All right. As much as I'm trying not to make this stream too long, I want to see what's in the chat right now. Okay, Chaotic Storm. We have to craft. We have to craft those African minds. Yeah, exactly. I mean, we have to mold the minds of the new Africans coming up. Okay. Not to hate each other. Yeah. So, Nigel Boy, thanks for joining the stream. Okay, thumbs up, people. Thumbs up, family. So yeah, it starts with the mind, right? It starts with the mind. We need to, revolutionize our thinking, okay, and move forward. We need to learn from Rwanda. Yeah, I mean, we've suffered. Okay, Africa has suffered a lot of atrocities that we can learn from. We can learn so much from the past, but we are refusing to learn, and it's not just the ordinary people. Okay, leadership leadership by example. Okay, is the leaders in power that are refusing to change. Okay, when you have leaders like Buhari of Nigeria, refusing to change, okay, and being so corrupt. Okay, you have other leaders in. I have other news that I'm gonna decipher in a minute. But you have African leaders that are refusing to change, and you have people like Abiy Ahmed, okay, who has embraced change. Okay, who he has embraced change, and moving forward, he wants to bring change to his country. Okay, we need more African leaders like that. We need more African leaders like Paul Kagame. You know, uh, you know, we need to. I know the West will never sit still until they see democracy in Africa, but we need to put it in our own style that would benefit us and promote regional integration and peace on the continent. So this is what we need to do, and we as the young people of Africa, we need to really change our mind. As Chaotic Storm said, we need to, craft our mind, for the future that would help us to unite. Okay, so I think the African Union ambassador, what's the name now? Madam Chihambori. Okay, Her Excellency, Madam Chihambori Arikana. Okay, she speaks very well about um, molding the minds of young people for the future in terms of unity. Okay, and learning from the past. Okay, we need to learn. We've had so many experiences that we can draw lessons from as a people, and we this is not a time we should be divided. This is a time we need to embrace one another and love one another, because as we're divided, okay, it's so easy for us to be conquered. All right, so easy for us to be conquered. So it's only unity that can do it for us. Okay, so without much ado, I'm going to move on to the next segment of this stream. But yeah, a moment of silence for the leaders that lost their lives. Okay, in Ethiopia, the progressive leaders of Ethiopia who have brought epic progress to Ethiopia, and there are a group of people who are basically just detractors and people that are so bitter, who want to see chaos than progress. So yeah, may they rest in peace, and they should send a message to anyone trying to destabilize the region that it will not be accepted, right? It will not be accepted, right? Okay. Let's see what else is here. So yeah, chaotic storm again. We need to learn from Rwanda. Yeah. We do not need another genocide, but yeah, we need to put aside tribalism. We need to put aside ethnic tension and stuff, and see one another as family. Okay, and unite. Okay, all right. So I'm beating a dead horse here. Okay, so I'll share my stream again. I'll share my screen again, and okay, so going to the next one. Okay, another article that I wanted to share is Mauritania. So Mauritania ruling party candidate wins presidential election. So Mauritania had elections, I think, last month, and there's been, I think, the opposition did not want to accept the the results, so I think they had to do another poll count and stuff like that. So this is just 17 hours ago. So the new president has been accepted. So this is from Mauritania. Okay, again, africannews.com. Mauritania's ruling party candidate has been declared winner of the June 22nd election, winning 52% of votes cast and bagging a first round victory. In the evening of Sunday, June 23rd, the Independent National Electoral Commission, CENI, confirmed the victory of Mohamed Ould Ghazouani. Sorry about that if I butchered the name. He had been leading the results since polls closed. So Ghazouani had declared himself winner of elections hours after the close of polls, forcing the opposition to accuse him and outgoing Ould Abdel Aziz of a near coup. Okay. The opposition have since called for protests against the declaration of the elections body. His nearest rival, Biram Dar Abi. So this is what I'm saying. Democracy doesn't really work in Africa because there's a lot of ethnic tension in democracy. You have a country with a lot of ethnic divide. Okay, democracy doesn't really work because what tends to happen is an ethnic group would always support their candidate, and if the candidate does not win, okay, they become a heavy opposition to the other ethnic group whose candidate won. So before you realize, there is an ethnic clash. Okay, so this is what's happening throughout Africa, right? So Nkrumah saw this a long time ago and introduced a one-party system. But then again, because the West always likes to push their democratic, agenda. Okay, because when you have a democracy and I'm not in favor of like dictators and stuff that would like to be in power for like, till the day they die. But there should be a one political party, okay, which everybody belongs to, but then the leaders are shuffled around. Okay, the leaders are shuffled around. But when you have different parties, okay, different parties come with different agenda for the country. So whenever and you have a 4-year term, okay, so whenever your term is over, okay, you have not accomplished your agenda, okay, a new party could come in and scrap all your agenda. And this is why democracy doesn't work in Africa, and it's all like a stalling tactics happening in America. I mean, in Africa at the moment. But we'll see. Okay, we'll see. I'll take that again. The opposition has or have since called for protests against the declaration of the elections body. His nearest rival, Biram Dar Abid, a prominent black Mauritanian slavery campaigner, okay, got about 18%. Mohammed Aoud, and mind you, slavery is still going on in Mauritania, in the form of in servitude, sort of like indentured servitude type of thing, but not the slavery that we know of the Americas. But it's something that it's a system that exists in Africa where people, serve other people, for so many reasons. Okay, but the Arab slave trade as well, where people being sold and stuff like that. A form of that still exists in part of North Africa. So this is this person that is advocating against that. Okay, yeah. So Mahmoud Ould Boubacar, who is backed by Mauritania's biggest Islamist party, also got 18% with support for the other two candidates in single figures. About 8,500 votes out of 1.5 million have been counted. The election was the first in sparsely populated Saharan nation's history since independence from France in 1960 to choose a successor to a democratically elected president. So one thing I also wanted to point out that a whole lot of African Americans as well do have Mauritanian ancestry as well, since the slave trade was the transatlantic slave trade was all along the coast of Africa, okay, from North Africa to the southern and starting to eastern part of Africa, like all around Africa. Okay, the slave trade took place in all part of Africa. So, Africa was a prize. Okay, Africa was a prize. Anyway, moving on. Outgoing President Mohammed Ould Abdel Aziz surprised many of his compatriots and international observers by stepping aside after serving. So, yeah. It's only in Africa that they have international observers. I've never heard of international observers during a US election. I've never heard it. Only in Africa, okay, they want to oversee everything we do, right? They want to oversee everything we do, right? So his compatriots are international observers by stepping aside after serving a maximum two 5-year elected terms. So you have 5-year terms in Mauritania. So he's been in office for 10 years. So wow. in Mauritania, a country of fewer than 5 million people, comprising a large chunk of Western Sahara Desert. So his decision backed his decision backed a trend in which African leaders, including in Rwanda and Congo Republic, have changed or abolished term limits to cling to power. So this isn't right, okay, where you have in Rwanda, okay. I feel like Paul Kagame is just gonna be president till he dies. Although he's a good leader, but that's one thing that I don't really like about Paul Kagame. But he's doing a really good thing. But one political leader shouldn't be in power for that long, okay? And that's just disgusting. All right, that is disgusting. So his decision backed a trend in which African leaders, including in Rwanda and Congo Republic, have changed or abolished term limits to cling to power. Okay, so that's pretty bad. Gazouani insider, former general and defense ministers, has been heavily tipped to win from the beginning. The slavery campaigner Gazouani has campaigned on continuing economic and security progress made under Abdelaziz, who, since taking the helm in 2008 coup, positioned Mauritania as an ally of the West against Islamist militants. Under the leadership of the 62-year-old president, the economy has grown and will receive an extra boost when a large offshore gas field starts producing early next decade. So Mauritania, I hope you do not repeat the mistakes of Ghana. Okay, Ghana discovered oil. Okay, I think in 2011 and started drilling for oil. Okay, and in 8 years, the revenue was $24 billion, and guess what? Ghana got $4 billion. I hope this wouldn't be your story. Okay, I hope this wouldn't be your story. Okay, you need to get at least 80% of the deal. Okay, 80% of the revenue generated from this oil business that's going to go on. Okay, if you're not getting 80%, you're losing. Okay, you're losing. But President Aziz has been criticized for not facing up to the country's most searing injustice, the persistence of slavery. Okay, so this probably won't make Gazouani win this election because he's advocating against this slavery. So slavery needs to end. Slavery officially ended, but there's still some elements happening. Okay, some elements happening. Tens of thousands of Black Mauritanians still live in as domestic slaves. Rights groups say, usually to lighter-skinned masters of Arab or Berber descent. Okay, so this is not really great. Okay, I myself, I am of a Berber descent, and I do not think that anybody should be a slave of anybody. Okay, I do not think that anybody should be a slave regardless of skin color. All right, so this is really sad, right? Happening in Africa, I can see the vitriol between black and we all black people in Africa. We all black, just different shades, right? But I don't see anyone who is lighter should be to be a slave of anyone who is darker to be a slave of a lighter person, or vice versa. Okay, so Aziz has made pronouncements denying slavery is widespread. I actually watched a BBC documentary on this. Okay, last year there was a BBC documentary filming that there's a slavery happening, but the guy that had his slaves was a bunch of women, women servants, and BBC said they were slaves, but they interviewed him, and he was basically they were basically servants. Okay, they were basically servants, and he doesn't the man in question, he was a dark, not too dark, but he was kind of like medium skin tone, and his slaves were also about his skin tone as well. Quote unquote slaves were about his skin tone as well, and he thinks they shouldn't be free because they're having a good time with him, and they live in the desert. Okay, they live in the desert, and basically he feels that he's obliged, or is it mandatory that he looks after them, and in the form of slavery or servitude. So yeah. So yeah, Aziz has made pronouncements denying slavery is widespread. Abid, himself a descendant of slaves, has campaigned partly on this platform. He and other opposition leaders also sought to tap into youth anger at high unemployment. Unlike some other regional Western allies, Mauritania has largely been spared reprisals by jihadist militants linked to Al Qaeda and Islamic State, who have devastated neighboring Mali and Burkina Faso. This, together with the fact that the region's jihadists tend to make announcements through Mauritanian media, have prompted critics to conclude a tacit peace pact between them, a charge the government denies. Okay. Documents seized from Osama bin Laden's Pakistan hideout in 2011 indicated Al Qaeda's leaders had discussed among themselves the previous year a possible peace deal with Mauritania's government that would involve prisoner releases and payments. The government denied any such deal existed and has credited its success preventing Islamist attacks to intelligence work and rehabilitation of imprisoned jihadists. All right, so that ends that article, but subsequent article relating to that, okay, is let's have a look in the. I'll have a quick look in the chat. Okay, I'll have a quick look in the chat and see what we have here, right? Niger boy, thanks for joining the stream again, brother. Remember what I asked you last week. Is democracy for all countries? What do you think about monarchy? I did. You remember last week I said that democracy is not really an African thing. Okay, I said that socialism is how we Africans used to live. Okay, when you have cultures like China, even China, cultures like you know Russia, and in Africa, because we had kingdoms and stuff like that. It's always socialism, okay? Not necessarily like communism, okay? Socialism, where everybody has a say in the affairs of the country, and we have a monarch, we have a monarchy, okay, a structure of government. Okay, this is what this is what needs to happen in Africa. We need to go back to our past way of ruling ourselves, okay, and not to embrace the Westerners way of ruling, okay, which only benefits a select group of people, okay. In Nkrumah's government, Niger boy, you need to really study Nkrumah, okay, study Nkrumah and his work, and study what he was about to establish. Okay, that's why he wanted a United States of Africa. Okay, all united as one country, having one government. Okay, which is the government of African Union. Okay, this is the only way we can perform better. Okay, but when we divide it into several governments, okay, we are easily attacked, and it's easy to fraction. Okay. Oh, I know about Dr. Kwame Nkrumah. Yeah, you need to read a bit about Dr. Kwame Nkrumah. Why he was in favor of the one-party system, because he really understood, because of how Africans are so tribalistic. Okay, we cannot embrace democracy that easily. So, yeah, it's a very difficult thing to do, to achieve democracy in Africa, because of our what you call it our nature as Africans, okay, our tribalistic nature as Africans, okay, doesn't allow us to be follow the Western model of democracy, okay, but our forms of government or governance, sorry, our forms of government have existed for thousands and thousands of years before there was even a white man on the planet, before there was even a European, pale-skinned European on the planet. So, and that is what we need to go back to, okay, okay, where we had the pharaohs, okay, And pharaoh means a great house, so it's a house of representatives, okay, of all the tribes in Africa. Basically, that's what it is, right? A monarchy structure, okay. And Egypt lasted for 3,000 years, okay. And before that, there was a Kushite Empire, right? So yeah. Um, without much ado, I'm gonna go on to another segment here. Okay, I'm gonna read. Not. I'm just really relating article related to uh, an article related to the Mauritanian one that I just read. The Mauritanian president bowing. Okay, this is again from AfricanNews.com. Okay, whilst others sit tight, okay, whilst others sit tight, Niger, Mauritania, Tunisia presidents bow out. Okay, so this is what we need to take note about. Article from by Abderrahman Alpha Shaban. Okay, about a half dozen African leaders have secured their long-term political futures after tweaking their respective constitutions to allow them remain viable to engage in elective politics. Okay, so this is not right. When a country's leader has the power, okay, to tweak, you know, or rewrite the constitution to make them stay in power or affect politics. Okay, that's in the case of Congo, where the former president can still, engage in the politics. I mean, it's really sad. Okay, and the Western countries don't say anything in regards to that. They do not condemn this at all, because what happens is, as the sometimes, okay, the Western countries do things in try and error. Okay, they try to establish a puppet government, but then when it backfires, okay, when a new government is installed, and then the new government does not go with, like as in Egypt, okay, the new government does not play game with the United States. Okay, the government that was playing game in Egypt with the United States was a former leader of Egypt, Mohamed Morsi. Okay, when he was removed from office by Al Sisi. Okay, they all scratching their head because Al Sisi is not playing the game. Okay, but they would love to see the former puppet still remains, a political influencer in the country. Okay, so this is what we're having in Congo. Okay. So it is really, really sad. Okay, but this is a short read, and I'm just gonna let you know that some African leaders have, vowed to stay in power, whilst others have embraced democracy and bowing out. So about half a dozen African leaders have secured their long-term political futures after tweaking their respective constitutions to allow them remain viable to engage in elective politics. In the north, Egypt's Abdul Fattah al-Sisi. Hang on a minute. A moment, please. So in the north, Egypt's Abdul Fattah al-Sisi, down the Sahara, Chad, Idris Deby Itno. On the west African coast, Togo's Faure Gnassingbé. Cameroon's Paul Biya shows no signs of slowing down with a seventh consecutive term secured in 2018. Then there is Yoweri Museveni of Uganda, Paul Kagame of Rwanda, and Denis Sassou Nguesso of Republic of Congo. Okay, so this is why I don't really let's close this. Uh, so yeah. So this is why I don't really praise Paul Kagame too much, but I you know just because you've liberated Rwanda and brought Rwandans together doesn't give you the right to stay in power indefinitely, right? But you know uh, this will really set Rwanda to fail in the future if this is the case. If Paul Kagame doesn't step down, okay, eventually there's going to be opposition groups sprouting who would probably have had enough of Paul Kagame, okay, and want him out. As the case of Dr. Kwame Nkrumah. Even though Dr. Kwame Nkrumah meant well for Ghana, uh, he declared himself, president for life. Wait, rightfully so. I mean, they should have given it to him. I mean, he liberated Ghana, and he wanted to make sure he puts Ghana on the world stage before he leaves office. So there was no, you know, so he put himself indefinitely in position of power, and the Western governments don't really like these sort of things. Okay, so they took Nkrumah out. But we will see. We will see. Okay. In January this year, we published an article looking back at African leaders who left office, either after losing elections or after serving their terms. So the most recent African country to have a former president is the Democratic Republic of Congo, DRC, where at 47 years old, Joseph Kabila has left office after 18 years in charge of sub-Saharan Africa's biggest nation. So even 18 years in office is just too much. It's too much, right? It's just too much. So yeah. In this piece, we look at three leaders ready to leave office when their tenures expire. Mohamed Ould Abdul Aziz, Mauritania, Mohamedou Issoufou of Niger, and Beji Said Essebsi of Tunisia. Okay, so they're all going to leave office, but it should tell you that there are African leaders that want to stay in power indefinitely. Okay, and 18 years is just too much. Okay, we don't want that, right? We don't want that. Niger boy, Africans will be Africans, power greedy. Yeah, I think it's not all Africans. I think some people feel like they want to be their fathers. They want to be the fathers of Africa. They want to remain in power indefinitely and oversee everybody. And that's not just great. Okay, that's so backward, right? You're not a monarchy, and it shouldn't happen. If that's the case, okay, we need to embrace Ethiopia's style, okay, and have a monarchy, okay, but which we all pledge our allegiance to, and the governor appointed by the monarch, okay, to run the affairs of the country. That's in the case of Abiy Ahmed, right? So I think Abiy Ahmed's model is of Ethiopia is very effective, but then again, there's still that ethnic divide which needs to be eradicated, right? Selma, thanks for joining the stream. Morning, how are you? I'm doing great, thanks. It's a beautiful, it's a chilly morning here. It was like 2 degrees. Very cold morning here in Melbourne, very frosty. But we're looking forward to a warmer afternoon before. It's been very cold, start of winter here in Melbourne. But yeah, I'm doing great. I'm keeping warm. And thank you for joining the stream, right? So, Najaboy, imagine Obasanjo was planning to extend and change the constitution to 3 term. Yeah. Okay, that's going to be very drastic. Okay, so it's not going to help anybody. Right? It's not going to help anybody. So, moving on with the article, Mohamed Ould Abdul Aziz came to office after coup d'etat in August 2008, won elections, restored democratic order, and won 2 elections in 2009 and 2014 for final term. Tenure expires this year with the swearing in of a successor preferred candidate, Mohamed Ould Ghazouani, the former Minister of Defense. So best remembered for clamp down on opposition bloggers, active participation in the G5 Sahel force. So yeah, which is not great, right? So Al Abdelaziz looks back at a decade in charge. Okay, so that was him there. Okay. Uh, Beji Said Essebsi, okay, came to office December 2014 after the Arab Spring ousted Zine El Abidine Ben Ali. Tenure expires when next year elections are held in November. He is not contesting. So preferred candidate, neither Beji, neither Tunis party have named one. His current PM, Yusuf um, Shahid, is leading a new party, Taya, I can't pronounce that name, sorry, Towns. Best remembered for being Tunisia's first democratically elected president. Okay. I would say, frankly, that I do not want to. I do not want to present for a second term because Tunisia has a lot of talents. As FC said at a meeting in April of his party, Nida Tunis. Okay, so I think it's Tunis in Monastir. Okay. Yeah. So that was from Tunisia, right? Tunisia's president rules out second term bid. So this is what we need to have in Africa. Okay, when a president is so just and honest. Okay, just step aside. Okay. So yeah, was the Niger president says quit notice ahead of 2021 polls. Okay, this is what we need to have. Okay, this is what we need to have. So we don't want African presidents staying in power for that long. Okay. So yeah, what do you all think about these African presidents bowing out and you know indicating that they want to move forward? Okay, they do not want to continue being long term leaders of a country. I mean, it doesn't speak well. Okay, the office of presidency is not an inheritance. Okay, it's not an inheritance. Okay, it's a job. Okay, it's a job. Okay, and it's not your inheritance. It does not belong to your family, right? Okay, so yeah, we oh you had to kick out Basanjo. Yeah, and this needs to happen. Okay, this needs to happen. When the citizens speak, okay, this is when the people protest. Okay, as in Algeria, we saw in Sudan, people protest. We do not want you anymore. Okay, you need to leave office. Okay, this is what needs to happen. But when we protest, okay, it needs to be a peaceful protest. Okay, it needs to be a peaceful protest or an international body. Okay, that needs to oversee presidential terms in other countries. All right, right. So in another news, okay, I think a couple of weeks ago I stated where Ghana and Cote d'Ivoire wanted to dictate their own prices at which the cocoa beans are sold on the international market. So I have an update here. Okay, so it's a win. Okay, cocoa industry stakeholders accept price dictated by Ghana and Ivory Coast. So stakeholders accept demand. Ghana and Ivory Coast on Wednesday announced that they had won concessions from stakeholders in the cocoa industry, including acceptance of a $2,600 floor price for a ton of cocoa. Okay, you know, this needs to go up. The value of this needs to go up for a ton of cocoa. This is crazy. Okay, you have a ton of other minerals so selling for huge amount of money. Okay, and you have a ton of cocoa selling for 2,600, and a whole lot of people like me can't live without chocolate. Okay, and you buy a ton of cocoa. Okay, a ton of cocoa is like 1,000 kilograms of cocoa beans, okay? And out of that they can make millions of dollars worth of chocolate out of that, right? And then you are only wishing for 2,600. So that I mean, this is so meager. Okay, this is so low. Okay, this is so low, and they need to demand more, in my opinion. So the two nations had threatened to stop selling their production to buyers unwilling to meet a minimum price, following a two-day meeting called by the two top cocoa producers, who together account for over 60% of the world's production. Joseph Boahen Aidu, chief executive of Ghana Cocoa Board, told a news conference that their demand had been accepted in principle by participants. So over the years, it has been the buyers who have determined the price for the suppliers. So the game has changed now, right? So it's now the sellers that are going to determine the price, right? So Ivory Coast and Ghana have suspended the sale of the 2020 to 2021 crop until after notice for preparation of the implementation of the floor price, he said. Calling the move historic, he said that this is the first time when the producers have called consumers and the first time whereby suppliers have called buyers to come and engage on price, he said. So the issue regarding cocoa and the fair price for the farmers has been going on for so long. Okay, there's been so many commercials done and stuff like, you know, chocolate manufacturing companies have, engaged in activism and, making sure that the farmers get paid well, but it's still not enough. Okay, farmers are being paid less than 10% of the revenue generated from cocoa. Okay, so yeah, so over the years, it has been the buyers who have determined the price for the supplies. Adu have added that there would be a follow-up meeting to work out how to implement the agreement. The world's chocolate market is worth around $100 billion, of which only $6 billion go to cocoa producers. So this is what I'm telling you. So the world's chocolate market is worth around $100 billion, and only $6 billion go to cocoa producers. So less than 10%, really less than 10%, roughly about 7%, right? Roughly about 7%, and that's really bad. Again, it's not fair. Right, name it back now. I'm going to bed. Good night, family. Good night, sister. Have a good sleep. All right, thanks for joining me. Niger boy. Nigerian is beyond redemption. The youth and the leaders are so corrupt. Nothing works. We need a military rule with no nonsense attitude. That is the only solution to Nigerian craziness. Amra Cameron, thanks for joining the stream. When you coming on Dynast? When Dynast is ready for me, okay. When Dynast is ready, I will come on. I've sent him emails several times. Okay, so when he's ready, okay, I guess. So we shall talk about these things, okay, on Dynast show. So yeah, I mean that's the end of the article. Okay, I feel really sad. Okay, that you know the the global market, okay, for chocolate is $100 billion, and only $6 billion goes to cocoa farmers. This is really sad. Okay, so AFB Africa, Ghana, Ivory Coast suspend sales. So Ghana and Ivory Coast. I mean, I talked about this ago, so I'm not going to read this article again, but I read this a few couple of weeks ago that the international market is paying $2,436 for a ton of cocoa, okay, which is not right. A ton of cocoa, which is not right. So they wanted the cocoa farmers, okay, wanted $2,600, and basically the international market says done, okay, done, because it's still so small, so small. Okay, how can you have, at least $40 billion needs to go to cocoa producers. $40 billion, not $6 billion out of $100 billion. So I mean, this is really sad. Okay, and this is, they should halt the sale of cocoa beans. Okay, produce their own chocolate and sell it to the international market. Okay, Ghana should produce their own chocolate, okay, and sell it, okay, and do not produce chocolate for them. I mean, cocoa for them, okay, and selling cocoa beans. That's not how to make money. Okay, Ghana needs to be producing chocolate on a mass scale and selling chocolate to the world, not cocoa beans. So that's the way forward, right? That's the way forward. So moving on to my last segment. Okay, my last segment is going to be let's have a look. Uh, so yeah, how are you all going? How's it going, family? So yeah, I'm gonna move on to my last segment. I hope you guys have been enjoying this so far. I started off with the coup d'etat in Ethiopia. Okay, I don't really see it as a coup d'etat. I think it's just assassination. Uh, it's an attempted coup. Okay, so it was aiming to be nationwide, but it only took main effect in the Amhara region and also by in the capital Addis Ababa, but definitely didn't make it to the Abiy Ahmed's office and stuff like that. So I wouldn't call it a major coup. It's probably a skirmish by someone that was bitter from the past. Okay, who has refused to be better. So yeah, instead of being bitter, you can be better. Okay, so this is how I see it. So yeah, moving on to Mauritania. Okay, Mauritania changing government. There's been an advocate for the end of slavery in Mauritania. Slavery has officially ended, but there's still some elements of slavery going on in Mauritania. This man by the name Ghazouani, okay, um, what is his name now? Uh, Ghazouani, I can't pronounce it. Yeah, Ghazouani has won the presidency. Okay, and he's been a great, advocate for the end of slavery in Mauritania, which he denies that it's not a, wide nationwide spread thing. Okay, slavery. But then again, we have the lighter skinned Africans, making the darker skinned Africans the subordinates, okay, or quote unquote slaves. Okay, so that will be sorted out under the new president. Okay, um, Ghazouani. Okay, so and also talked about the cocoa. Okay, the cocoa. Ghana and Cote d'Ivoire have won the bid for an increase on the cost of cocoa or the sales of cocoa to the international market. So they've won a fair bit there, which is like a drop in the bucket, really. They were being paid $2,400, and now they've been paid $2,600. So little over $200 on a ton of cocoa. So I mean, this is really sad. Okay, when you go to the port of Ghana, there's tons and tons of cocoa being shipped out of Tema or Ghana in Cote d'Ivoire, the port of Abidjan, and the port of Tema and Takoradi. Tons and tons of cocoa being shipped out to the world every day, mainly to Europe, to even here in Australia and New Zealand, even Japan, Asia. Tons and tons of chocolate being sold out. But Africa is only getting, a little for it, which is not right. So yeah, also talked about the Mauritanian presidents, bowing out for a new one, and the other African president bowing out, and basically speaks volumes to African leaders who want to maintain their position in power, okay, indefinitely, which is not right. So yeah, my final segment is to talk about the AFCON, okay, African Cup of Nations, okay, which is an excitement which is going on at the moment in Egypt. Okay, it was meant to start on the 22nd or the 21st. It would be 22nd for us here in Australia. Okay, but 21st over there. So I'm gonna share my screen. Hmm. Okay, so sharing my screen now. So yeah, the African Cup of Nations, which on the 21st of June. Okay, on Saturday for us here in Australia. Okay, the opening ceremony. The African Cup of Nations will kick off on Friday evening with the much anticipated match between Egyptian Pharaohs and the Zimbabwe Warriors. So the tournament is historic for several reasons, including the fact that 24 teams are participating for the first time, and it is being held in the June-July window rather than January-February. So in this article, we will share updates and developments ahead of the tournament opener, including the following: Egypt, Zimbabwe, LCC's welcome, expectations, and da. So I'll leave the articles in the description box. You can check it out. Okay. So here, just to show you what it is, right? Egypt won the opening match 1-0. Okay. Zimbabwe lost to Egypt. So yeah, hashtag Egism. So yeah, tweet about it. Okay, if you're a fan of soccer, if you're a fan of football, I do not want to bore you if you're not. So I'm not gonna read too much of it. But yeah, just scrolling through. Okay, Mohamed Salah. Okay, Liverpool. But yeah, so yeah, it was just a 1-0 game. I mean, which Egypt should win because it's an opener. Okay, but yeah. So those were the highlights. Okay, those were the highlights. The Egyptian squad. Okay, again Salah again, Mohamed Salah. All right, Zimbabwe squad. All right. So LCC welcomes guests to their second home. Among the dignitaries in the VIP box at the Cairo International Stadium for the opening ceremony were the Egyptian President Abdel Fattah el-Sisi, and the only person who delivered a message of welcome. The other African presidents cited Inns, Mozambique's Felipe Nyusi, FIFA President Gianni Infantino was president along with CAF President Ahmed Ahmed. Okay. Other big wigs of CAF and Egyptian FA were also present. Okay, so there we have them. Okay, so LCC delivers speech in AFCON opening ceremony. I welcome all of you, our dear African brothers, in your second homeland, Egypt. Wishing you happiness. Okay. So he is the president of Egypt, welcoming all Africans in their second homeland. But, the entire continent of Africa is our homeland. So, yeah, that's my take though. So, yeah, I'll leave the article in the description box. You can check it out yourself. Okay. So, that's about it. Okay, that would do me. Okay, that would do me for now. I think there was one more that I wanted to share. It was a recap of what had happened before I close out, right? Niger boy, I saw you. I missed your comment. Did I? I'll read it in a minute, family. Bear with me. I'm running out of time now, so. Screen share. I'm gonna share one more article and then we close out, right? Okay, because I'm out of time now. So AFCON daily games underway in Egypt. Okay, so this is what I wanted. So this is about 17 hours ago. So the games are underway in Egypt since Friday, June the 21st, when a colorful opening ceremony set the stage for an opening fixture. The hosts labored to win against Zimbabwe. Upsets recorded already on day second as Uganda's Cranes beat the Democratic Republic of Congo's Leopards. Tough start for debutants Burundi, losing by a goal against Nigeria, but a much upbeat one for fellow debutants Madagascar, who pulled off a 2-all draw with Guinea. So our sport team serves a weekday special report, AFCON Daily. Damn. Our sport team serves our weekday special report, AFCON Daily, with all the fixtures, results, gossips, and analysis of major ongoings in Egypt. Okay. So yeah, family. That's all that I wanted to share with you. Okay, I hope you have enjoyed the stream. Unfortunately, I cannot stay here any longer because I am going to get ready for work. So thank you all for joining the stream. Let's have a look at your comment, Niger Boy. Mr. Niger Boy. Okay. What was your comment here? Missed my comment. Okay, so see the lawlessness in. So Niger Boy, as much as I hate military rule, this is the only solution in Nigeria. We are stubborn and too greedy. We need a military rule in Nigeria. Sad, but that's the truth. You need to come to Nigeria and basically see, right? And see the lawlessness and craziness. I see in the day of social media, okay, in the way in the light of social media, I don't necessarily have to be somewhere to know what's going on. But yeah, I do have a lot of Nigerian friends here in Australia, and they tell me a whole lot, okay, of things that's going on. But it can change, okay, it can change. Leadership by example, okay, we need to choose proper leaders. Okay, we need to choose proper leaders. We should not give, an inch to the leaders who want to do whatever they want to do in office, who want to stay in power for as long as they want. Okay, this is what we need to do. And as educated people in the diaspora, okay, we this is what we do. We need to speak against the African leaders, okay, that promote corruption, okay, and perpetuate corruption on the continent, okay, because if the leaders themselves are corrupt, the people will definitely be corrupt. Okay, so a corrupt nation is only indicative of how corrupt the leaders are. Okay, that's all I can say. So Chief, we cannot change. We can change, family. We can change. Okay, and it starts with power, the position of power. It starts with the government. All right, everything starts with the government. So if you have a selfless leader, okay, if you have a leader who is not buying Mercedes Benz is worth almost $200,000, okay, at the expense of the average Nigerian who cannot afford a 3-course meal. Okay. So this needs to happen. Okay, we need to speak out against our corrupt governments, and that's all we need to do, right? That's all we need to do. All right. So Selma, great topic. Thank you, family, for joining the stream. Unfortunately, I cannot stay here for longer, but definitely tomorrow I'll try and come on a bit earlier. Okay, and we can discuss this further, or I'll bring forward new topics to discuss. But yeah, again, we all stand in solidarity with Ethiopia. We grieve and mourn with them. They having a day of mourning for the loss of the prominent leaders and stuff like that. The president of the Amhara region was murdered. Yeah, so in an assassination process and a failed coup d'etat. So yeah, kudos to Abiy Ahmed. Hashtag Abiy Ahmed. I really support Abiy Ahmed and support his message of reform and his his ways of reforming Ethiopia, and extending the olive branches to all his neighboring countries as well, including Sudan. Okay, so yeah, he's been a proponent of peace in the Sudan as well, and deliberation and in transitioning the military government in Sudan to a civilian rule, and it's all by the doings of Abiy Ahmed, bridging Kenya with Ethiopia and in other regions as well. So I am very, very, pleased to see what's happening, but it is really sad what's happening in Ethiopia, and I hope that it doesn't happen again. In the efforts of reforming, okay, we need to still crush all oppositions, okay. We need to still crush all oppositions. Anybody who is not on board with unity, anybody who is not on board with, promoting peace and progress in Africa, okay, we need to do away with them, okay. Moving forward, okay. We cannot be walking around with thorns in our feet, okay. It's not gonna work. So anyone who is being a thorn in the feet, okay, needs to be removed. All right. And this is what I believe in. Okay. This is revolution. This is what revolution is. All right. This is what revolution is. All right, family. Thank you all for joining the stream. Selma, thank you for joining the stream, beautiful sister. Name back now if you come back to see the end of the stream. Yeah. Thank you for joining the stream. Have a good sleep. Niger boy, thank you for supporting. Amra Cameron, okay. I will definitely try to contact Diana again and see if I can come on and we should talk, okay. Niger boy, don't be too I would urge you to be positive, okay. Be optimistic for the future, okay. Hope is all we have, okay. And the only thing, I'll be honest, okay, the only thing I have hope and faith in, okay, is the progress of Africa, the unity of Africa, the African Union. Okay, that's the only thing I have faith in. All right, that's the only thing I have faith in. I do not have faith in God. I do not have faith in any human being. I do not have faith in anybody, anything. Okay, but I do have faith in the unity or the unification of African people. Okay, the progress of African people, a united Africa. That's what I have faith in. All right. That's what I have faith in, okay? And that's what the revolution is all about. All right. All right, family. Okay. Stay positive, stay on your grind, okay? Work hard to achieve the global unification of everyone of African descent, okay? Pan-Africanism up, all right? Pan-Africanism up. All right, family. Okay. Peace out. Peace out. All right. Take care. Take care, family. Chaotic Storm as well. Thank you for joining the stream, family. Thank you for joining the stream. Okay, until next time, peace, family. Peace. Peace.